who's been busy as ever since recovering from a hamstring injury around the October time. But since he's got back in the side, he hasn't found the back of the net. Thorn then with the free kick. Hodges providing the width on the left. Winterburn hesitated and it was taken from him by Mark Ward, and that's measured for McAvenny, who's got the better of Gayle. A second chance for McAvenny, and this time it's Cottee who shows his appetite for playing against Wimbledon again. McAvenny did all the graft, really. Cottee has the glory of the goal. And the finishing of the move was slightly strange. It was a lovely ball from Mark Ward, taken up by McAvenny. Good goalkeeping here from Beasant, but unlucky because McAvenny got a head to it to set up Cottee. The goal after 4 minutes. And John Lyall, the West Ham manager, will be delighted that Cottee has scored. He's been ticking over, but he's been taking the penalties with Ray Stewart, another West Ham absentee in recent games. But that was a typical Cottee piece of reaction around the 6-yard box. Just what West Ham needed. Wimbledon will look for something from Fasnanu here. It goes over him. Hodges collects. Keane. Winterburn plays it in early. It was met by Hilton. Thorn couldn't control it. Headed on by McAvenny. Cottee is onside and Wimbledon are chasing him again. Tony Cottee puts it wide. Well, West Ham will reflect that in the opening 5 minutes of this match, they're 1 out of 3 in front of Dave Beasant. This time McAvenny headed on with Cottee catching Wimbledon square. Out came Beasant, slipped past him, but it was a couple of yards wide. And Downs making Beasant scurry. Well, they're a happy bunch at Wimbledon, but no smiles at the moment, the way this game has begun for them. Beasant on a charge out of his area. Paris above Fairweather. Kay with the early cross, blocked by Keane. Kay can try again. And Keane is there again, living up to his name. Some of you might remember his father Mike, who won the League Cup winners medal with Queen's Park Rangers back in 1967. Fairweather. And Pike, Fasnanu gets the goal. It was a gift. Wimbledon are level. The sort of goal that strikers really value themselves because it's a reward for following in, but it was a disaster for West Ham from the long throw. Fairweather touched it on, and then Pike unaccountably drove it back. Parks did well to keep it out, but Fasnanu was right on the spot. So Jeff Pike with a costly mistake, and John Fasnanu with his 8th goal of the season. He's quite a controversial character, and while he's scoring goals, he's getting the right sort of headlines. It's a sharp piece of work from him. It's West Ham's free kick. An indication, really, of how brittle West Ham are at the moment. They've made a swashbuckling start, perhaps could have done even better with 3 good opportunities, but just 1 goal to show for them. And now it's level again. Keane with the free kick, and up goes the flag against McAvenny. Okay, a touch from Pike. Cottee taking up a good position as well, and that might need some stern action by the referee. He's given Thorn the benefit of the doubt. It looked to me as though Thorn had visions of Cottee speeding away and stuck out the leg deliberately to impede him. Here's Mark Ward. Kay's header, Pike. Martin. Ince looking to get in behind Winterburn, and it's produced a West Ham corner. Both Hilton and Martin have come forward. Back came Fasnanu with a thumping header away. McAvenny. And West Ham can try again from the corner. Fasnanu has sprinted back to take charge, if he can, of that area around the near post. Martin, and it's just over at 6'4". Not too much loops over Dave Beasant and loops under the bar. Mark Ward had a good look and then saw Martin. Was always dropping over. Hodges and Winterburn. Martin perhaps could have responded to a call. He didn't get one. There's no harm done, except that Wimbledon have a corner. Only Fairweather was coming in, and he was certainly going to be late on parade. Had Martin let it run, Parks might have been able to collect the ball safely. Instead, more possibilities here for the team from southwest London. Thorn off the line by Kevin Keane, who was there for just that eventuality. Fairweather. And West Ham a little reluctant to accept that the free kick had been given against them. But Kevin Keane saving West Ham a moment or two ago from going behind. It was a header from Andy Thorn. It was well away from Phil Parks. Okay, clever free kick from Wimbledon. Fasnanu climbed brilliantly, or did he do it unfairly? The decision is a corner. He was up so high, you wondered whether he'd taken a ride. Turning what looked like an overhit cross into something more imaginative. Downs with the corner. Parks has got to come this time. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Hilton's mistake. Hodges trying to thread it through for Sayer, but it was under hit. And Cottee's speed bringing something out of nothing really for West Ham. Not too many players would have been able to retrieve the situation then. It's been a succession of West Ham corners without any real end product. Ward. Hilton! Hilton, 2-1. Well, it was a different type of corner this time. It changed the angle of the ball in. Still came from Ward after Keane had played it to him. And Hilton climbed the highest. Right in the corner. West Ham regain the lead after 36 minutes. Well, if West Ham have had a sticky period in their defending, it's a defender who's come to their rescue at the other end. Winterburn waiting as Gayle makes his way up, and it's Hilton doing the job he's paid for. But Ward penalised for a clumsy jump into Downs. Winterburn's free kick. Fairweather did well. Fasnanu. And it's level, 2-2, and it's Andy Sayer. A leap of delight from him and from those who've made their way across London. Fairweather did brilliantly to lose two. The characteristic far post cross that Wimbledon love to use because they know Fasnanu will reach them. And the coup de grace from Andy Sayer. A great moment for the young Wimbledon forward. And Tony Cottee, just a calming word. Certainly West Ham have enough problems at the moment in trying to establish some control on this match. Sanchez, Sayer, just in time. Paris was there. In the last 3 away games, West Ham have conceded 11 goals. But they're looking very vulnerable at the back here on their own patch. Sanchez beaten to it by Martin. And Gayle penalised. McAvenny gets his free kick this time. We're into stoppage time. And the end of a very eventful first 45 minutes. Tony Cottee started it off for West Ham after just 4 minutes. Good work by Frank McAvenny. But Wimbledon had twice pulled level. And Andy Sayer, the other striker we showed you before the kickoff, he's on the score sheet. Paul Hilton got the second goal for West Ham after John Fasnanu, there the number 9, had equalised the first time for Wimbledon. So at half-time at Upton Park, it's West Ham United 2, Wimbledon 2. First half, which told us a great deal about the strengths and current weaknesses of West Ham United, and also about the combative qualities of Wimbledon. It's an intriguing situation. 2 goals each. Some good nature booing of John Fasnanu right at the kick-off, and he does play to the crowd. Pike. Cottee did well to reach it, and disappointment at the end for West Ham because Paul Ince had strayed offside. Hodges. Fasnanu couldn't control it that time. Winterburn. Hodges only just picking himself up. But Winterburn's pass is a useful one for Sayer. And some very composed defending for West Ham by George Paris. To think that he might have left here on a free transfer a couple of years ago. It looked as though his career was going nowhere. And now he's out there with a lot of younger players around him, showing a great sense of responsibility. Sayer. And Fasnanu almost got there. It was a difficult ball that Sayer chose to play. There was an easier option available to him, to the player he was facing. Winterburn's long throw towards Brian Gayle. Pike, that was great control. Keane, Wimbledon having to scurry back. Keane against Kay. Cottee going to the near post. Here's Cottee! Well, they've been scoring goals here at West Ham from those positions since the days of Geoff Hurst and Martin Peters. Keane and Cottee were the successors in this move until the finish. Downs. Potts didn't really know where the ball had gone from his header. Pike is beginning to fit now into the tempo of the match. And West Ham looking to build through midfield rather than bypass it. They got drawn into Wimbledon's trap as the first half developed. Martin. Keane gives it away. And that might have been harsh. The linesman in the best position to judge, but Hilton was almost caught playing Sayer onside. Cottee, great first touch. McAvenny likewise. Ward and Cottee! Angry with himself. He found room where really Wimbledon would feel he had no right to find any. Thorn was slow across. Cottee was too hard in the shot really, and it flew over the bar. No foul given as Fairweather fell. Keane again. There's an important interception by Thorn. But when Wimbledon do switch the ball forward, they always seem to have a lot of players there. And they had better options really available than the shot that Carlton Fairweather elected to take. 4 players were ahead of him in blue shirts. It's the style that Wimbledon have used so effectively under Dave Bassett, who makes a little note, perhaps, of the number of shots. But this is McAvenny, and there are problems for Wimbledon here. McAvenny can't beat Beasant, who held his position, just started to fall as the ball arrived. Raw. Now Potts. And Cottee got it back somehow. That was superbly retrieved. Superb athleticism from Tony Cottee, and he took his teammates really by surprise. Here's Potts. And it's a goal kick. But Frank McAvenny foiled again. 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper. And the goals just won't come for a player who scored so prolifically last season. At this stage last season, he had 18 First Division goals. Now, this season, he's only got 5. Hodges. And a bad mistake by Sanchez. Didn't look to see that Kay had set off. West Ham trying to settle to the rhythm of their football in a controlled way, and being matched by Wimbledon's sense of competition. And no little skill to go with it. Half an hour left. Sayer. And it comes for Fasnanu, and he's scuffed it. Chances at both ends. I think John Fasnanu was amazed to find himself in there with the ball in a legitimate position. Came off a West Ham player, Alvin Martin, and he got it all wrong, did John Fasnanu. Paris and Hodges slid in. That could have been painful, but Paris has quickly bounced onto his feet. Keane, Wimbledon going in with feet flailing and being matched like with like. John Fasnanu accepts it all as part of an afternoon's work. It's a game that's been quite spread down the length of the pitch. Very few offsides. Thorn with the free kick. And Fairweather. It's trickled in. Carlton Fairweather wheels away. And Wimbledon, for the first time in this match, lead. 20 minutes into the second half. An undistinguished goal from the West Ham viewpoint. Thorn took the free kick. It went through the heart of West Ham's defence with Martin slipping, and Fairweather clearly got the final touch. Paris, Winterburn played them onside, and Beasant, the calmest man around. Kay. Fasnanu flicked it on. It's the tried and tested Wimbledon method that's brought them from the 4th to the First Division. Fairweather hooked from him by Paris. Well, when you played at places like Tooting and Mitcham, scoring a goal at Upton Park is a great thrill, and you can see it written all over the face of Carlton Fairweather. He's in there again, and Sayer! No! A save right from the foot, really, of Andy Sayer. Wimbledon could have put it beyond West Ham's redress here. Sayer controlled it, hit it, and then found Park smothering it. Sayer. Hilton read it well, but can only give it to Hodges. That's Fasnanu, and this is Fairweather. Good save. Phil Parkes off his line, and the referee ruling against Fairweather. Whether it was for offside or a raised foot. Meanwhile, as we look again at Fairweather went in, the reaction around the ground is because West Ham want to make their substitution. Kevin Keane goes off, Alan Dickens replaces him, and it would be fair to say that a portion of the West Ham fans didn't really agree with John Lyall's decision. Alan Dickens, of course, for so long a regular, but has just gone through a sticky spell recently. Has got to come. Now Dickens usually operates in a more central position, just behind the front two, and Kevin Keane was playing wide on the left, so that may need a rethink by West Ham. And what they daren't do now is concede another goal from this corner. And they have had problems dealing with the set pieces of Wimbledon. Just diverted away from Sanchez. Sayer trying to win it back. Thrust aside by Paris. Here's Sayer. Winterburn. Sayer darting forward again. And doing it unfairly, jumping into Steve Potts. It's a compelling game, and the thrills to the very last. Awkward clearance from Parkes for Wimbledon to deal with. Hodges, cut out by Martin. Cottee wanting it played early, and Martin obliged. All over yet for Thorn and Gayle, but they've done well in the heart of Wimbledon's defence. Paris. Another corner. George Paris, looks as though he hasn't played the game for 2 weeks. He's so energetic, let alone playing his second spell of 24 hours. Was pulling the trigger, and Gayle just flung himself at Tony Cottee. Wimbledon were all over the place then, and Gayle with a timely touch. Fasnanu is there, and got his breath back. Phil Parkes in a hurry. And Dave Bassett knows that it's not won yet. Fasnanu chases it himself. He does always provoke a reaction from the crowd, but he can play a bit. Downs. And Fasnanu again throwing body and soul into seeing Wimbledon through if he can to what would be another victory away from home in the London area. John Lyle's West Ham United go down to defeat for the second successive day. Beaten at Tottenham conclusively, beaten here by Carlton Fairweather's goal 20 minutes into the second half, after twice West Ham had led through Tony Cottee and Paul Hilton. John Fasnanu equalised and wants his teammates to come and support and applaud those who are applauding him. Andy Sayer got the other Wimbledon goal. Things are going well for them. They can smile, but there are problems ahead in 1987 for West Ham United. They've been beaten here at Upton Park by Wimbledon 2-3.
So the bad times then continue for West Ham. They were a championship tip just a few weeks back, and now they're languishing in 12th position. 2 ahead of them now are Wimbledon. Indeed, the West Ham manager, John Lyle, admits that he's got a pretty bad defensive crisis right now. His team, in fact, have conceded 16 goals in their last 6 matches. Neither side involved in the race for the championship right now, where Arsenal have West Ham United. I look forward very much to being with you again next week on Big League Soccer.